Clack, clack, clack. Clack, clack, clack. I can't play action games. I'm not for them, they're not for me. I don't remember how to play this game at all. Oh, I don't have a gun. Oh my gosh, he's still alive. Oh wait, no, is he dead? What the crap just happened? Oh my gosh!
Mission in Section F.
What the crap? Oh my gosh! Oh jeez! I didn't know that was gonna bother you so much. It's because I killed your boyfriend, huh? That feels good. That is fun. I'm lacking some serious brain functionality.
christiangeekcentral.com.
Hey guys, Pater Franson here from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions, continuing my reactions to the announcements and press conferences of E3. I just watched Microsoft's E3 2018 press conference. I was really looking forward to this event. Xbox has been focusing a lot on game services like the Game Pass catalog, which allows people to get subscription to access to multiple games, like I think over 100 games for roughly, I think, $5 a month. So they've got that system. They have been focusing, as always, on good online multiplayer services. I, though, tend to zero in on a few games that match my particular preferences, so like a subscription service to a broad variety of games isn't really going to interest me, and I really am exclusively a single-player, offline, hermit video gamer. So Xbox these days just tends to not be doing the kinds of things that are really attractive to me. Here are my reactions, though, to the two things that had me most interested during the show. So take a look at this, and then I'll come back with some more thoughts about the show as a whole.
What exactly is the true nature of the Black Stone? What lies beneath the vast desert? Unhungered for more and more of the power, it is time that I, at long last, reveal the hidden secrets once and for all.
Okay, who's this? Please be single player offline.
I am Elezra, the darkness born from the desert.
Ah! It's an MMORPG! Crap.
Thanks, and have a great evening.
Oh, here we go. Oh, nice. Let's do it. Release date? Come on, don't just give me this CG trailer. Wasting my time. Now, Cyberpunk 2077 does actually really interest me. I want to keep track of that. I hope there'll be more information and gameplay that comes out during this E3. But I played The Witcher 3, some of it. I think we'll finish it at some point, maybe. But the narrow kind of skill/ability tree in that game, you can't really be a full-on mage, or like a backstabby thief and stuff. It's really like, no, you're Geralt, and you do what Geralt does, and that's kind of within those parameters. So that was unsatisfying. The combat was unsatisfying. The story felt completely inaccessible. And so really those elements kept me from finishing that game, at least up to this point, despite how much The Witcher 3 is celebrated. And so many people just seem to assume that CD Projekt Red can do no wrong, and they're going to make Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be this great game. I'm not confident of that at all, at least not a great game as far as my preferences go. So I still don't know if this game will be for me, and I need to see gameplay before I can even begin to figure that out, which was why it was so disappointing to just see what I called a CG trailer. There may have been gameplay footage without, HUD elements involved and stuff like that, but Anyway, it was disappointing to me to not see gameplay. So let me actually go over my jaded predictions that I had made for this conference, as well as my unrealistic wishes, and see which ones came true and which ones didn't. The first prediction was we'll see some of Crackdown 3 and the new Gears of War, and yeah, that came true. That wasn't a very crazy, outlandish prediction, so I'm not super surprised there. Second, I predicted that neither Crackdown 3 or Gears of War will be my cup of tea, with too much emphasis on action, game scale, or multiplayer. And no, that didn't come true, but I have to qualify that. I was actually kind of interested in Crackdown 3. Like, it potentially might be my kind of game because it reminds me a bit of the Saints Row games, but it also reminds me of where the Saints Row series went, namely to Agents of Mayhem, which ended up being this kind of open world, over-the-top thing where it was so over-the-top that I didn't feel like I was, doing crazy things in a real place. What makes open world games like, urban open world games fun for me is if the city has a sense of realism to it, except for maybe the ragdoll physics of people as I accidentally, run into them driving my car around. So it's the humor that emerges from my doing ridiculous things in a semi-realistic environment, not my doing ridiculous things in an over-the-top, cartoony Tron land kind of environment. So I don't think I would be interested in Crackdown 3 for the same reasons that I ultimately kind of faded out and lost interest with Agents of Mayhem. Gears of War, I would just need to see a whole lot more about the gameplay of the upcoming game to know if it's my thing or not. Number 3, I predicted that Microsoft will play the part of the underdog that I want to root for a little, but still not give me any tangible reasons to think an Xbox console could be in my future. That one absolutely came true. As far as my wishes, the first wish was more backwards compatibility. I know they've given us so much, but I want more! And done in a way that makes players demand more from Sony. That's really the motive there. I want Sony to get better backwards compatibility. That's why I wanted them to go forward. I didn't really see a focus at all on backwards compatibility, so that wish did not come true. My second wish was a game focus, specifically exclusive games that will release in 2018. So this one kind of came true. There were a boatload of games there, including a number of games that Microsoft isn't typically known to be associated with that come out of Japan. There was Devil May Cry 3 and Tales of Vesperia and a number of titles that were coming out of Japan. I was like, that's cool. That's definitely kind of like filling a gap in their library that I'm sure some people will appreciate. But none of those games that they showed in particular were ones that I felt drawn to. So, and there were barely any real exclusives. Most of their 18 exclusives that that Phil Spencer announced at the beginning and then said again at the end were timed exclusives or like smaller indie games, maybe part of that sizzle reel. I really had trouble finding more than 2 or 3 that were actual real, you can only play this on Xbox One or a PC, and you're out of luck on the Switch or PS4. So, and then my third wish was some kind of jaw-dropping surprise that would just like bring Microsoft back into the game in a way that none of us expected to see happen, and that didn't happen. So we had good reason to not suspect that. Despite not being an Xbox fan anymore, I did want them to have some games and some features in this press event that would entice me and that would get Sony competing with them some more. And this show just didn't do that as far as I'm concerned. They mostly showed trailers and gameplay footage for games that will ultimately be available on PlayStation as well as Xbox. As for what they plan to uniquely bring to the table, their main focus seemed to be spotlighting the growing list of titles available through Game Pass. Todd Howard came out and said, hey, Fallout 4 is now available on Game Pass. And I'm like, okay, well, these games, I've played them already. When it's really impressive when they say, hey, this upcoming cool game will be available day one on Game Pass. That's like a crazy value, but if it's these games that I've already played before, I'm not really interested. So they were spotlighting their growing list of games available through their subscription service, and also spotlighting their initiatives to make new games and tech advances in the future. This was kind of focused on toward the end of the show. They talked about their acquisition of multiple game studios and basically saying, hey, these guys are going to be making games for us now. And these were all game studios that were making games that haven't really interested me in the past, and so I'm not really interested in the games that they're going to make in the future at this point. Then they talked about how they're doing research into AI for games, and I'm like, okay, well, that'll be kind of cool at some point. They're going to do more research into cloud gaming to bring console quality gaming to mobile devices. devices, which sounds really cool, but again, that's something that's coming at some point in the future, and it's certainly not going to get me to buy a console when the whole gimmick is to have console quality gaming on not a console. Maybe they mean that they're going to be streaming your Xbox to your mobile phone or something like that. Maybe that's it. Anyway, and then Phil Spencer gave the promise that their hardware team is making a new Xbox console. Well, you know, of course they are. In a nutshell, the message seemed to be, we're going to be doing amazing things. We're going to be an amazing company sometime in the future. Phil Spencer also said something interesting early on as he talked about gaming in general. And this is more on the philosophical, radar category of things. I had a little blip here in my mind as I was watching when he said that gaming is the great unifier. And this would be an example of the kind of hyperbolic language that assigns too much value and significance to gaming as a hobby. I can't imagine gaming being the great unifier unless you never spend any time online, ever. The nastiness and the verbal fighting among gamers is almost a defining characteristic of the hobby as it exists in the online space. So Phil Spencer's words there just baffle me in light of that. Now, setting that aside, I think Xbox is pumping tons of resources into their future, which is kind of cool to see happening, even though I'm not personally excited or invested, over that. But I do hope that it serves them well. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the future. I also hope Sony is watching. Xbox has, I think, lost the console war clearly this time, but they seem determined to win the next one. In the meantime, however, they don't have anything that interests me. Bethesda, however, just might. So stay tuned for my thoughts on that conference coming soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Let's begin.
Burn, ungodly filth!
What do you want? To make you ours or to make you despair?
Spirit Blade Productions presents...
Do you have any idea how much I will make you suffer? The horrific agony that I will inflict.
Spirit Blade, Dark Ritual.
Hell will be a refuge for you when I'm finished.
For more information, visit spiritblade.com.